And we're back. And what a year it has been. We are fully through 1 year of Worldwide Chocolates Flight Club, and just want to give a massive thank you to everyone who stuck with it from the beginning, and another thank you to those who are new and signing up and just want to get a taste of the program. So today we have a pretty good theme, pretty interesting things going on. We're going to be shifting away from the traditional format of me just, speaking in front of you, and going to incorporate a bunch more clips from the manufacturer. So some actual video clips will be a part of this segment, all of which are coming from the manufacturers of these blends that we'll be featuring this month. And you can see I'm wearing a very safari themed shirt and love it to death. But today's focus is the world of single origin chocolate, specifically single origin Africa. So we will be traveling across Africa and tasting various single origin blends from different makers. And I'm quite excited to get into this month in our new format. So without further ado, we will be jumping into this month's Flight Club package. Alrighty, so to begin, we will be tasting a familiar face, Chocolat Bonat, and they're out of Voiron, France. So you can see France right up in here. And this blend is a pure 75% dark chocolate, single origin Côte d'Ivoire, or Côte d'Or, or Côte d'Ivory, which is this country right in here. And this country is actually home to the largest production of cocoa in the world. The country alone accounts for about 38% of the world's cocoa production, and they're producing about 2 to 2.2 million metric tons of cocoa annually at this point in time. I have previously discussed some history of Chocolat Bonat, and rather than reiterating that information, I'm going to be inserting a clip from Stéphane Bonat. So I will let Stéphane take it from here, and we will be circling back right after.
Hello everybody, I'm Stéphane Bonat from Bonat Chocolatier, as written there. In 1756, my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather decided to buy a tiny 2,000 square meter building in the center of the world, the city of Voiron. He was able to do his activity of liquorist, confiseur, and trading cacao. Then in 1880, my great-great-great-great-grandfather, because he lost a bet, decided to become a chocolatier. And then it led to this. The first ever 65% dark chocolate bar made in Voiron. In 1983, my dad and my mom decided to make the first ever single origin chocolate boxes to celebrate an anniversary. This box allowed chocolate to go from some childish markets to the gourmet market. It was a huge turn and a huge improvement. As I have been stung by cacao, I'm now obliged 12 times a year to go in our plantation and to search the world for the best cacao. I put on my boots, I put on my hat, and I strip down because jungle wants it so. And it led us to go from this to this, which basically is this. Amazing, isn't it?
I will say Bonat dark chocolate is some of, if not the creamiest dark chocolate I've ever tasted myself, due to their processing and cocoa butter content in the bars, or blends rather. But an average consumer would expect a 75% chocolate to be extremely dark. The Côte d'Ivoire is quite light, fragrant. It does have those classic chocolate notes, but you'll know as soon as you taste it, that buttery and smoothness that I'm describing is right there on your palate. And now that we have covered Bonat, we'll be moving on to yet another familiar face, Michel Cluzel, out of Still France, but instead of Voiron, we will be in Damville, France, which is, France again up there. And we'll be tasting the Villagracinda 73% dark chocolate bar, single origin, Sao Tome and Principe. Sao Tome and Principe is, in essence, an island nation. If you're not too familiar with what that is, just think of Hawaii, and instead of a state, it's a country of its own. Located right up in here, kind of near the equator. It's actually, this is the equator, this line. And you can see these islands right up in here. They're all volcanic islands. The cocoa yield from this country is not quite as high as its, inland counterparts as you would see in Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Cameroon, etc. So it is a bit more of a fine cacao that isn't quite used as much on the industrial market, but we'll get right into this. So we're gonna dive into this next clip that displays a timeline of Michel Cluzel's history, but more specifically, I'm gonna be starting it from 1999 to 2013 to cover that range where the largest changes in their company were taking place. It's pretty interesting stuff to see how far they've come in such, a short span in the past 25 years. It's been tremendously different, but all in good ways. We also have, from Michel Cluzel, a new guided tasting experience. So if you scan the QR code on the back of the packaging here, it will bring you to a dedicated video walkthrough and flavor journey of how to taste this bar properly. I would highly recommend checking it out because the quality that has gone into it is just out of this world. And I will also link that in the description below for reference. I will say, unfortunately, Sao Tome is one of the few African countries where these animals are not home to because it has an extremely limited mammal population due to its an island. How it's not like a lion or elephant or like, hey man, I want to go to Sao Tome. Oh yeah, let me get my boat. No, wish it worked like that. Phenomenal bar. You can also get this in a couverture option, which is in the less milligrams for melting down and chocolatiering with, as well as a 5-gram square option. So if you love it, you could buy a bag and just snack on them all day, all night. That's what I prefer. But absolutely phenomenal blend, spicy, herbaceous, and just an overall good dark chocolate at a 73%. And with that being said, we've just about covered Michel Cluzel. I would recommend checking out some of their other origins that are available. All of them you can get in a square format as well, or Napolitan. They do have one of those tasting journey videos for each of their origins, and they're honestly so well done. I can't recommend it enough, but that just about puts a cap on our Michel Cluzel, and we'll be moving on to our next tasting. So next up, another familiar face, the MIA, M-I-A, Made in Africa, 75% pure dark chocolate bar. So this brand is coming out of Madagascar, and all of the cacao is sourced, processed, and packaged within Madagascar. We've featured a couple different MIA or MIA bars in the past, both of which had flavor inclusions. So to give you a taste of the true MIA chocolate, we wanted to include their flagship product, their 75% pure dark. It is phenomenal. Fine flavor cacao and going to introduce you to some of the co-founders and what this brand is about.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I would like to introduce you to a premium ethical brand that can change the world for the better. We founded Mia on the belief that the most delicious food products can also bring prosperity to communities in Africa. Our Made in Africa food concept is simple yet rare.
Having called Madagascar home for more than 6 years, it's a real pleasure to work with local communities to create a delicious product with positive social impact.
Here with Mia, the chocolate has been made as a high quality chocolate in Africa. So farmers are getting paid for their cocoa, workers in the factory are producing the chocolate, other suppliers locally are providing other ingredients, the sugar, the other services. And so all of their families come home with a livelihood out of this. And that's what we're involved with Mia. Great food that does good.
This blend is more of a gentle and buttery mouthfeel when it's on your palate, but does have some nice, robust, fruity and cocoa-y notes. Overall, this is actually one of my favorite single origin blends, and abundantly happy that we can include it for this single origin theme package, as we can't, cover Africa without including Madagascar. So what better way to include a Madagascar blend than the blend that is made at the source from start to finish. But with that being said, we've just about covered another staple pantry product, the Mia 75% Dark, and we'll be moving on to our next African country. So now that we have covered MIA chocolate, we'll be departing the island nation, traveling not too far, but we'll be going over to Tanzania, and the chocolate was crafted by another favorite, Damori, out of Turin, Italy, of which is right up in here. The blend on its own is certainly desirable. The Tanzania origin is not super common when it comes to these craft makers, but the ones who do get their hands on those fine cacao beans really make it worth their while. And Damori has actually put together just a quick snippet of some of their processing on site. I will note that some of their packaging has recently been updated since this video first came out, so some of the bar packages might look a little different or older, but same process for the most part. So let's jump into it. Interesting stuff. But you can see they're really doing the entire process from bean to bar, and that, I think, video that I've been able to include is probably the best depiction of how the bean to bar process is done from start to finish. Not necessarily just Damori, but just bean to bar makers. Sure, maybe they'll have different machinery, but overall the process is pretty uniform in how it's maintained and done. So we'll be moving on to our in-flight treats, because if you thought we were finished, we're not. So we've successfully gone from Côte d'Ivoire to Sao Tome and Principe, to Madagascar, to Tanzania, and next up we'll be tasting Beyond Good chocolate, single origin Uganda, which is right up in here. So we could, I guess, either take a boat across Lake Victoria. If we do, I would highly recommend bringing an abundance of bug spray, and I won't get into that, but we could also take a plane. So if we don't have bug spray, we'll fly over there, and we will be tasting the 73% dark chocolate bar, with salted caramel as the flavor infusion. So this is our only infusion bar this month, but it is an in-flight treat, and wanted to give you a good taste of some Ugandan cacao on top of these other African origins. This blend has a pretty deep and rich chocolate base, and it's accompanied by little bits and pieces of caramel, so it's a nice harmony of the salted caramel and just dark chocolate. Honestly, it's just a really great flavor combination. They do have a few other flavor inclusions from Uganda, but this is our staff favorite, and this is the one we decided to include in this month because it's our favorite, and it'll probably be one of your next favorites. You can see that their packaging does include Jenny the giraffe. Hello, Jenny. I've got all these great safari animals on this flexed out apparel, although it does not include a giraffe, and I neglected to double check that this covered every animal that was, present in these African nations. I apologize, but next time I'm hunting for safari gear, I'll be sure that it includes a giraffe. Giraffes are obviously native to Uganda, thus that's why they're on the packaging, as you will see a lemur on the packaging of their single origin Madagascar blends. So Beyond Good was originally named Matakassé, and they were based in Madagascar and one of the first processing at the source chocolate makers. So, similar to MIA, they were harvesting, processing, and finishing all chocolate in Madagascar. Enter their new origin, Uganda. Almost the same process, but after the beans are harvested and initially processed, they're sent to their Madagascan facility for the final step. So it's not 100% done in Uganda, but it's still done all in Africa. I was not able to find a good clip to insert for this blend, but it is our in-flight treat, so that is not the largest of my concerns. Amazing brand and amazing company to work with, and just excited that we can have another great African single origin in this month's package. So with that being said, we'll be moving on to our final in-flight treat, and you guessed it, we're staying with single origin Africa. So we actually have covered this brand before in the past, Conda Chocolates. And we've included 4 minis, so we'll have their dark chocolate and extra dark chocolate minis included in your package. The extra dark is at a 72%, the dark is at a 56%. These are farm sourced and finished in Ghana. Ghana is actually the second largest cocoa producing country in the world, averaging about 880 million metric tons annually in its output. This company we have covered in the past once before. It is founded by Karen Blackwell, and I have a quick little clip just to show some of their bars that are available as well. So as you can see, they've got some great imagery and energy. Their chocolate blends are true to the bean and true to Ghana. So we've been able to include 3 made at the source blends this month. Of course, we have Conda, Mia Chocolate, 75% pure dark, and the Beyond Good Uganda, 73% with salted caramel pieces, and of course Jenny the giraffe. And then we've also been able to include phenomenal craft chocolates from D'Amore out of Italy, covering Tanzania, Michel Cluzel's Villa Gracinda blend, which is out of Sao Tome and Principe, and finally, or rather firstly, the Chocolate Bonat Côte d'Ivoire 75% dark chocolate bar. So a fully direct trade package this month, half made at the source, half by some of the 3 finest chocolate makers in the world. I'd say this has been a good anniversary on our Flight Club got a fun shirt, some additional media clips, and you bet you can expect a lot more coming for the rest of the year, in year 2 of Flight Club. We'll be incorporating a lot more exclusive blends beginning later in the fall, of which you can't get on the site and you can only get via our Flight Club subscription, as well as additional media content shoutouts. And I'm abundantly excited for the next phase or next gen Flight Club now that we're in year 2. Always looking forward to the next month. So until then, stay cool, especially if you're in California right now. Eat, sleep, breathe chocolate. Cheers.